How much money have you raised?
Just over $1 million now.
Being a landlord has been bashed a lot because of changes in legislation, taxation, and just people's attitudes towards it in general. For somebody starting out now, with maybe not a lot of capital behind them, what advice would you have for them? What type of investor do you like to work with, and who do you tend to stay away from?
Good question. The main avatar for me is...
PBK podcast is sponsored by Faraway Pizza, the fastest growing pizza company in the UK. With over 160 stores, you can definitely find one near you. If you want a slice of their flavoursome pizza, then you can use our discount code PBK20 at faraway.co.uk to get 20% off. Once again, PBK20 at faraway.co.uk to get 20% off.
Welcome back to another episode of the PBK podcast. Each and every week, we bring you a property professional, an expert, somebody who is absolutely smashing it in their field. And I'm delighted to say today I'm joined by Aaron Kadoa. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
Now, we're excited to have you here. Aaron's one of my guys. Like, you know what I proper say? Like, you know when you see so you say, no, that's my guy. Yeah. Aaron's my guy. I've seen his journey in full effect. I just want to start by saying I'm massively proud of you.
No, thank you, man.
Massively proud of you. So you are the owner of ADK Property.
Yeah.
You're a property developer, an investor. For those people that don't know you, just tell the people a little bit about yourself.
So my name's Aaron Kadoa, property developer, investor based in South London. Mm-hmm. I really enjoy business. I started my first business quite young.
How old?
When I was 18. So
and what was the first business?
It was a sportswear brand called Danquah Limited. So I was really into sport. I've always been into sports. I played sports at a high level. So that was kind of my first ever business.
You're one of the many through the Crystal Palace ranks, right?
Nah, not. I was at Arsenal before.
Oh, is it Arsenal? Oh, okay.
So played for two good teams. Like football's an amazing sport to play. You learn so much things when you're young, especially mentally, dealing with like rejection and stuff. So it was quite good. And yeah, that led me into starting my first business.
Do you think actually a lot of the mental fortitude and the ability to work in high pressure environments comes from having a sports background?
I think so, because like as I've grown up and I've had the experiences that I've had dealing with like situations and just pressure and taking risks. A lot of the time, I think it comes from that, because from like a young age, from 14 to 16 to 18, football gets very intensive. Decisions are made, etc. And it's very opinionated. So you have to prove people wrong. You have to make sure you perform and always look to perform at a high level. And moving that across into business and just the field I'm in now has played a big part. So yeah, I'd say from that point on. I've had that installed in me.
Nice. So with the clothing line, how long did you operate that business for?
For about 2 years.
Because eventually you closed it down.
Yeah.
Do you think, and I ask people this a lot, actually, let me start firstly with, what did you learn from that business?
So much. So I feel like with that business, I learned a lot about trial and error, in a sense where I was ordering stuff from, let's say, China, Pakistan. My quality control wasn't as great as it was, and it would take so long for me to get something back, which, now I'd change it. I'd probably have someone overlooking everything based here, going out there, or I'd go out there myself. So things like that, the logistics sides as well, and operation side, which I massively didn't understand then, that made the business not operate quite well. So those are key learnings I took from like operating that business at such a young age. And I always say to myself now, if I was to go into a similar business model now, those sort of experiences I had then, I'll just implement into the new business.
Definitely. With that business, obviously it's like a lot of us have businesses, we have trial and error that don't work out. How early on into it did you think, maybe I'm going to have to stop this?
I'd probably say like year 2, because I was really trying to push it. At that point, I had like my Astra. I sold it to buy stock, and I was like, maybe this won't work as much as I'd want it to, and I don't have at the time the funding to push it to the level I want it to get to. So then I started looking at different routes to go down.
Do you think being able to accept failure is important?
100%. Because there's always a point where you can't push something to where you want it to get to, and you have to accept that to move to the next level. And I'd say it's definitely something you need to be able to accept to grow. So,
I think we have to accept the good side of failure, the lessons.
Yeah.
And actually failing fast a lot of time is very important.
100%.
Because failing slow is painful.
Yeah, no, it's true. 100%.
So obviously seeing that business that didn't go to plan, but you still had the impetus that you like business.
Yeah.
You had to sell your car.
Yeah.
What was the next steps for you?
So at the time, I had a really good mentor who ran like a digital marketing company and a venture capital company as well. So I knew I needed to be of value somehow. So I knew skill sets were a big thing. So I'd done an internship at his digital marketing company for 8 months, just worked for free. And within that time period, I learned how to build websites, worked with like loads of different influencers on activations and things being released, album launches, which helped my network grow. And also I was able to gain like really valuable skill sets to go out and create something for myself or get into another industry or work in a job role to help a company grow and just gain understanding to help me in life. So that was like the turning point of everything, because seeing how people dealt with business, being in the meetings, seeing what struggles they were having, how they're overcoming them, helped me so much being in that working environment.
Yeah, no, amazing. And then in terms of your transition from there and actually getting into property, even like before when you were playing football, when you were in other businesses, were you always interested in property or was it later on?
Yeah, I was always interested in property. So like even when I was playing football, I always knew like when I get paid, I'm gonna buy houses when I can. So like there was always an interest there, but from that point on it was okay, I'm looking into different things, but how do I get into property? How do I make it how do I make cash flow from it? And what's the easiest way to fix my situation now to push forward within property?
So I think for a lot of people, when they see someone like you, and how old are you now?
25.
25, and you've seen that you've still been in the property space for 2-3 years now?
About 4 years.
4 years. Okay, well, 4 years, so still quite a long time. But obviously for a lot of people, they assume like, it must be your mum and dad's money, that you must have had like money from some unscrupulous means elsewhere. You must have won the lottery. Like, let's talk about your first property purchase. From saying, okay, I like property, from talking about it, how did you fund your first purchase in the works?
So it's mainly been building relationships and social media. How I even started property was through building my rent-to-rent business, taking stuff on and being able to document that allowed me to go into the development side, and showing people what I could do allowed me to raise funds within my social media platforms. Social media is so powerful because like at that time I didn't know anyone that would lend me 50 to 100,000. So that came to the value point again. How can I be of value to someone? What points did I need to see in myself that would make someone invest in me? So I kind of wrote that down, worked around that, and from then I was able to go out and raise the funds that I needed to raise.
Nice. And how much did you raise for your first project?
185,000.
In what period of time?
In about 7 months. Took quite a while.
And in terms of chicken and egg, did you find the project and raise the funds? Or did you raise the funds, then find the project? I think that's something a lot of people get stuck on.
Yeah, so I found the projects, then raised the funds. So I feel like I had to why I done that first is because I needed a conversation point. I needed to discuss the numbers with whoever I was pitching to. I needed them to understand like this is the deal, and I need them to believe in it. So yeah, I found the deal. I looked at so many deals. That one worked. It was quite quick to turn around. So I was like, okay, I'll go with this. And I started pitching it out to as much people as possible. And you have to get uncomfortable. Like, I wasn't really used to asking for money. So being put in that position and the shift of mindset was quite big. And yeah, it allowed me to do that.
Yeah, that was the first. And in terms of area, it was still zone 2 prime, sort of, not prime, but a very good location in London, super desirable city. But at first, obviously, I came to that first project.
Yeah.
Lot of learning curves from the project itself.
Yeah.
Remember that one? My writing saying you bought a kitchen that you disassembled yourself from Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
I think you spent £500, £600 on that kitchen.
Yeah, so it was a cheap kitchen I bought for £1,000, but then I was just trying to save as much as I could on the refurb. So yeah, me and Ethan had to take it down stairs in Elscourt. The woman lived in Elscourt. Took it down, got a zip van, just loaded the van and dropped it to the site.
Have you got any pictures of that day?
I might have
you need those pictures for your then and now,
for
your then and now moments.
So. I think we have a picture. Like we went over on the zip van because we thought it would be quick, be assembled. But she let us know. She let me know on Facebook Marketplace. Nah, it's gonna take quite a while. You might need to take a day out. And I was like, we'll do it quickly. But she lived on the top floor. Had to take it all down. So
lift? No lift.
No lift.
No lift. How many floors?
It was like 3 floors, just downstairs.
That's why they're
big Victorian house.
That's why they're your moments where you wasn't with me shooting in the gym.
Literally, it was lit. That was literally you weren't with me in the gym.
That's what I always say. Like I remember, like I've got a picture of myself and an old business partner. It's like 1 a.m. and we're the IKEA curtains come one size.
Yeah.
So we're cutting down the curtains and ironing them ready for our rent-to-rent properties at like 1 a.m. because we've got tenants moving in the next day. And as people see you and they see you talking about raising hundreds of thousands, they talk about like this deal I've done and this amount of profits and this many million. But I think a lot of people, when they ask themselves why they're not where you are, it's because they weren't willing to put in the graft day one.
100%. No, it's true.
So in terms of transitioning from that deal and how you operated, since doing that first one, how is the way in which you manage projects changed?
I'd say it's changed quite a lot, just in terms of I want a lot of the things that I learned from that first project. I was more project managing, and I'm not as effective as I can be within that role. So like implementing like a main contractor to look over things, and if he's doing all like the nitty-gritty work, I can always hire in the skilled trades that I use across all my projects, whether that's the same plumber, same electrician, and just being able to manage that side. But in terms of the day-to-day stuff, I'm not too involved, and he just reports back to me. So that's kind of how I've changed. And now that I'm doing multiple projects, more than one at a go, it's been very effective, because on a day-to-day, I want to see what level that project's at the end of the week, what's getting done in the next week, making sure there's no delays as well. So yeah, that's been a big thing.
In terms of project management, are there any tools that you use? Like, do you implement any tech or any like software to help you with that?
Yeah, so what I've been doing quite a lot, I use Monday.com quite a lot to see what stage we're at, and just for every project, for example, like how I do a HMO will be completely different to how I do a 1 to 2 bed. So just having those stages. So now that I've started growing the team, when someone comes in, they will know, okay, this is how it should be done. This is the stage we're at, blah, blah, blah. And
so did you build up like a schedule of works through one day?
Yeah. Schedule of works and just stages of the projects through that. So they can just slot straight into that. And if they have any sort of questions or need to see what we spent, everything's on the Google Drive for them to go and see.
That's more for your investors. But have you tried getting builders to use Mondays?
Nah, that's something they'll just stay away from that, because I don't even see them seeing value in that. So it's more, for them, it's more seeing it on a sheet of paper and getting it printed out, and they just work off that. But every build is different.
Do you think it's important to, obviously you've got that, you said you use software systems, but you allow your builders to work off paper.
Yeah.
Why is it you don't try and force them to like be inducted into the systemization?
That's a good question. I don't know. Do you know what? I think for me, it's like, it's more, I have to make them understand it. And I don't want them to force them to understand something that they're not used to if they've, for example, been doing it a set way for so long. So I wouldn't change that side. But for the people within the team that are working on different things at one time, they would need to understand that. But it might be a thing where I might just try and get the builders to understand that and have download like the apps to see what stages we're at, etc. Because it might make things easier.
Definitely. When you talk about the team and you talk about your current role and transitioning, where would you say you spend the majority of your time now within ADK Property?
So the majority of my time at the moment is, so across the 3 companies, like more looking for new opportunities, updating like investors, and more relationship building on the management side. So it could be, for example, with procurement officers, keeping up to date with that, looking for new ways to rent rooms, and discussing new ways to take on our properties that we're taking on. So I'd say that's where the majority of my time gets spent at the moment.
So a lot of stuff in acquisition, driving efficiencies, and then relationship management.
Yeah.
And is that where you like to be? Is that what you enjoy?
Yeah, I think I've learnt to enjoy that role, and I learn new things every day, and I'm really enjoying it at the moment. I think across this year it was just making sure all of that stuff was in place and understanding my full role and what parts of the business people need to come into. So just mainly focusing on, if I was to ever look to exit or try and sell the business, everything's in place to do that. So that was like the main focus for this year.
What have some of your keyest hires been where you've been able to actually sort of pass off some work to allow you to focus on the things that you think are most important?
So I'd say of recent, getting a property manager based here involved has been really, really useful, because I'm not dealing with, like, for example, the tenants anymore, dealing with any maintenance issues. That's what they've.
That's a game changer, right?
Yeah.
And did you not have this moment? How long have you had a property manager for?
About a year now, since August last year, over a year.
And imagine right now your property manager left.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having to go back to deal with all those, like, because you used to do it, right?
Yeah.
You used to deal with all your tenants.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people that are in business right now, you're probably doing way more than you should be doing, because you don't want to trust yourself.
Yeah. 100%.
You don't want to trust yourself to actually, let me pay the money because I can make it back doing what I'm really good at.
Yeah.
And people try and do too much of everything without specializing on something that's really going to grow the business.
100%. And you've got to be able to delegate when you can. I feel like with like SMEs, a lot of the time is trying to keep as much money in, and you're scared to employ that person to go to the next stage because you might not have the cash flow for it. But at times it's needed to make more for the company. So yeah, it eases things quite a lot.
Definitely. How much money have you raised since you started?
I'd say just over $1 million now. So I've raised quite a bit, especially with everything in the pipeline, what I have going on. Yeah.
Nice. Seven figure investment raised. It's a fantastically, it's a great stat. With working with all of these different investors and different people, what type of investor do you like to work with, and who do you tend to stay away from? Thank you to those of you who have liked, shared, commented, but most importantly, subscribed to the channel.
Did you know only 28% of people that regularly watch my videos have subscribed? Now we're trying to get that to 40% so we can bring on bigger and better guests and make better content for you. So if you could do that right now, myself and my team would really appreciate it. Now back to the video.
Good question. So, with investors, like the main avatar for me is someone who's like very career driven. So they're focused on their career. So they're not and they're saving funds. So they're not actively looking at using their funds. So they understand, um, they understand the level of, being able to earn money whilst not doing anything. So 10 to 12% return works for them. And the people I tend to stay away from are people that want a quick return really quickly and would be happy to loan me money for a short period of time, for a crazy return, because that's not really realistic, and there's quite high levels of risk with that as well.
Okay. Project-wise, obviously I said I went to your first project in Clapham. I've been to multiple projects. I've been to HMOs. I've been to where you've done title splitting. I've been to 1 to 2 bed conversions.
Yeah.
It's quite a lot of different types of projects. Where's like really your sweet spot in the type of projects you enjoy the most?
I'd probably say of now, I really enjoy the HMOs. I think
Give me some numbers in terms of a recent HMO project you've completed.
so my most recent one, I purchased it at 555,000. I spent 93,000 on the build, and I got a commercial valuation of 1.1 million and 15. So that was quite a big valuation. It was quite a
How
good
many
project.
rooms was that?
That was a 5-bed.
A 5-bed. So that's 5-bed.
All en suite.
Nice. What were you getting per room?
Around 1.3 per room.
1.3.
Yeah.
Wow. So what's your total gross rent on that?
So if I was to go to the private market, it would be probably around 7,000, around that. But I just gave it to a provider, just because the level of management and stuff would be much easier, and I don't have to do much of that. So currently I'm getting 6,000, just
passive.
Yeah, very passive. So, and yeah, I really like that model.
Nice. Sounds like a good one. I mean, look, you've definitely scaled in terms of the size of projects you've been doing, the volume. How important is having like a network of other people doing similar things around you been to your growth?
Very, very, very beneficial, because like, for example, I could be going through something that someone's already been through or experienced, and being able to have that conversation and get that answer, or seeing how they would deal with it, has helped me so many times, because like I could lose money doing it the way, where I've never done it before. I could lose money doing it the way I want to do it. But if I speak to someone that's been there, it could save me, thousands. So I think it's very, very beneficial.
Yeah, no, I think very much so. And I think I see it a lot of the time, like even, when I see you at the gym with the guys, and obviously it's a lot of time very much like a hive where you're working together collectively, sharing ideas, and even people that are in different fields, not just in property.
Yeah.
But you learn a lot from those that just have the same entrepreneurial problems and wins as you.
Yeah, no, I think it's been that has been really good for us. Why I say that's because what they deal with within their businesses are very different to what we'll deal with on a day-to-day in property. And even though a lot of the stuff we do is very cash intensive, they're working with, some of our friends are working with like lower overheads and lower amounts of money, but the returns are quite higher. So it's good to see how they operate on a day-to-day basis and see the issues that they have.
Do you still enjoy property?
Yeah, I still enjoy property.
There was a little pause there, though. I still enjoy. Okay.
I still enjoy it. I still love property, but I just love business in general. So I feel like eventually going forward, I'm gonna scale this business and scale my property portfolio to what I want it to get to. But I definitely think there will be other avenues of business that I'll get involved in the future as well.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. Have you got any ideas of where you would like to pivot into, or is it just?
No, I have so many conversations now with like people in different industries, and it's always interesting seeing how they're doing well in an industry, how they're finding it, and having those conversations. So, right, right now, I don't have anything, but anything that makes sense within that. It might even be like business acquisitions or stuff like that. Um, that that I would go into. But right now, I'm just mainly focused on property and getting this to where it needs to get to.
Do you think like being a property developer or an investor is different from running other types of businesses?
Um, I would say in terms of skill set and um, yeah, just in terms of skill set, no, because for example, as a entrepreneur CEO, you'll have very similar skill sets and management skills. As a property investor or property developer, let's say you're doing a refurb, you have to manage quite a few people, or deal with one person that you'll have to manage. But similar to owning like a business, you're engaging in the same things on a day to day. So I'd say no, not as much.
Fair enough. And in terms of the actual industry as a whole, like, I know what you do, but what do you enjoy doing? Like, because recently we spoke about a project, you said you were using the micro cement
Yeah,
and you was excited about it. Like, you were
yeah.
smiling do you still really enjoy the finishing?
Yeah, I actually enjoy the finishing. So once everything's plastered up and you start your second fixes, being able to come up with ideas and what's going in and like seeing the deliveries come and then put in, it's quite cool. Just to be involved in that and saying, oh yeah, I came up with that idea and it looks nice. So I do enjoy that bit as well.
When obviously you've spoken about building your portfolio,
Yeah.
where do you want your portfolio to get to?
Um, I'd probably say my main goal is just making sure the cash flow is high across the whole company. So I'd probably say a good, like, a good high six figures monthly is what I'd want to get the whole portfolio across to. And yeah, I wouldn't say that would be the end, but that would allow me to look at different things and um, have have different outlooks on what I can do next.
Where do you look for inspiration?
I'd say in terms of inspiration, for me, I get inspired by like everything around me. Like I always say how much of an inspiration you are to me. Like my friends, just seeing what they're doing and how I can replicate that, and seeing them do it means, I can go and do that. Or someone doing something similar within our industry, I'm like, wow, like they've done it. That's amazing, man. That's an inspiration to me. So I take inspiration from as much things as I can, and I'm always inspired.
Do you think it's important to see someone that maybe looks like you or comes from where you come from, to help you maintain that drive?
100%. I think is a big thing. Especially like even speaking at events and having those conversations with people that follow me and them saying like how much I've inspired them, etc. I feel like it's such a big thing because when we started social, there wasn't much people that look like us on social media documenting their journey. So for us to be that for them now is great, and I always wish I had that coming up a bit more. So yeah, it's definitely a big thing.
So do you almost feel like with the social media, there's like an air of accountability that you almost feel like you have to do it?
Yeah, I feel like I have to do it, and that's the thing about it as well. I feel like the times where I'm not producing content and I'm not putting things out, it's like that younger version of me. I need to go back and tap in and be like, that younger version of me would appreciate me doing this or releasing that bit of content about my project and how I done it and explaining to get that value from the videos. So I think that's what pushes me to keep on creating content.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people that I speak to, not everybody loves making content all the time. But if you have got people that have supported you, these people have, even they may not know, but they've indirectly through their support maybe introduced your videos or your content or profile to somebody that ends up being an investor. So I think we do have to understand that, you've almost got a level of to give back for all these people that have supported you over the last 4 years of your journey. I think it is important. And you've been doing that. I've been seeing the YouTube videos. It's been popping. We're going to make sure you plug the YouTube at the end of this. You've been all over the gram. And I'm really, really enjoying the content that, like I said, you, Ethan, RJ, so many other people are putting out that I think is really engaging.
Yeah.
When you see some of the larger developers, so I don't know if you know Coyote from Birmingham, Anthony Laville, Rowan from Featherstone Homes, how much of an impact does that have on your drive to keep pushing?
A big impact, because, for example, Rowan, once we went around his sites and just seeing him doing a regeneration project in places close to where I grew up, it's wow, this is crazy. He's doing this. So seeing that shows you the sky's the limit and so much more can be achieved. So yeah, I'd say it plays a massive part.
With the buy-to-let mortgage, the property space, being a landlord has been bashed a lot because of changes in legislation, taxation, and just people's attitudes towards it in general.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think, they say, it's not as easy as it once was. Talking to your younger self, as you touched on earlier, for somebody starting out now with maybe not a lot of capital behind them, what advice would you have for them?
I'd probably say just try to start with something that creates cash flow early. So you don't want to be in a position where you're looking, let's say you're working within a 9-to-5 role, and you're looking to make the switch across to property. Don't leave a 9-to-5 role to go straight into property. Try and create something that brings you cash flow within property, then start looking to build that up and create as much as you can from that.
Okay, we're going to ask some questions now. Questions. So, somebody starting out, you just spoke about raising cash flow.
Yeah.
What do you think's a better strategy? Deal sourcing or rent to rent?
I think it's rent to rent. Yeah.
Ooh, you're going to have to explain that one.
Okay, I've done both. So, when I started out, I was selling deals. We still sell deals now. You don't have that level of consistency knowing every month that you're making that 500 or 700 pound, for example, with deal sourcing. And you've got to be able to manage your overheads as well. And sometimes deals do take much longer to complete because depending on your type of investor, they might not want to pay you your sourcing fee until they complete on the project or they've got the keys, etc. So for me, being able to find different avenues to make my rent-to-rent business work, engaging with local authorities and stuff, I think building an actual business, rent-to-rent works much better for me. So I'd always back rent-to-rent.
Fair. I think that, I guess the argument against rent to rent is depends where you want to go. But if you want to get into the development space, by deal sourcing, you learn a skill set that's going to help you more so as you transition into that space and can build more relationships as well.
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree with that. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to, if you're looking to go into development, whether you're deal sourcing or not, you're going to have to gain that knowledge to actually find out what strategy suits you and go and learn about it anyway. So it doesn't really make a difference. I'd say rent to rent, you actually know, if you're looking at cash flow as a cash flow purpose, you actually know what's coming in on a monthly basis.
And I think that's the great thing about having these conversations. your like ethos and what works for you probably works perfectly well for somebody else and doesn't for somebody, and likewise with myself. So I think when you are looking at the strategy you're going to pursue, it's all about what are your personal goals
100%.
and making sure that it aligns to that. So you like property, you still enjoy it, you enjoy the refurb, you enjoy the networking, you enjoy speaking. Is there anything about the industry that you don't like?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
So let me ask you some questions to check how honesty is as a man. Do you like how long conveyancing takes?
Okay. No, I don't.
Do you like how quickly solicitors tend to get back to you?
No, because that slows things down. Yeah.
Do you like the fact that oftentimes you're at the mercy of valuers' comments at the end of a deal?
I forgot about that. Yeah. Valuers play a massive part in your deal falling through. So yeah, those things I definitely don't like.
But I think you just have to work out how to navigate around them.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think in terms of scaling a business, any business, property in particular, you can't know everything.
Yeah.
So if you got to pick a 5-a-side team of important like people that you could bring to your team. So for example, it could be a really good builder, a solicitor, an architect. Who would be your 5 core that you would bring?
So 1, playing in the sticks, making sure everything's organized would be the solicitor. Plays a key part, making sure the deal
protects you, keeps you safe.
Yeah, make sure the deal gets over the line. Then I think I would have on there a good architect, to bring the idea to life.
Playing in the middle, the camera, bringing it all together.
Yeah, you need a really good builder because that saves
Cornerstone. Nice centre back.
Yeah,
solid.
Make sure the project's flowing and pushes it as quick as you want it to go.
Okay. 2 more now.
2 more. Ooh, who would I have? I'd probably say a good structural engineer, because that's a key part, making sure,
it's buildable, it makes sense, you're going to meet building control requirements.
Yeah. And the final one would probably be, who would I have last? The striker.
Personally, it might be a role that you're doing yourself, because it might be just sourcing the deals. Because if you haven't got someone that's out there finding you property,
the striker needs to go and find deals.
That's where the goals are, right?
That's
the good deal
is
the goals. I like your 5-a-side. I'm gonna counter it. Let me see who I would get in.
Yeah,
because I think there's a lot of really important people. I think you've touched on some great ones already in terms of the builders, the architect, structural engineer, deal sourcer. I think. Who else are really intrinsic? For me, massively important. Your broker, good broker, I think is worth their weight in gold.
Yeah.
Because there's loads of good banks out there, there's loads of good lenders, but you need fit for purpose.
Yeah.
And having a good broker make sure that if I'm buying at auction, I need someone that I know complete in those 28 days.
Really quickly.
And they can get the deals done. I think a good estate agent, like multi-purpose, they can find you opportunities, but also can make sure you can sell a property for what it should be worth on the open market.
Yeah.
I think a lot of estate agents is literally just people that turn up and open a door and say, right, go around, don't really understand how to qualify buyers, don't understand how to get the right people through the doors. So I think estate agents are massively important. For me at the moment, one thing that they wouldn't necessarily make it to my 5-a-side all the time, but stagers, like staging companies, because in this market, when it's competitive, getting people through the doors is the number one rule. And if you can't take a good picture, you can't get them through the doors. So you need somebody who's going to bring that property to life. So that's why we've even started doing staging in-house now. And it's a service that we offer, because I think in a competitive market, it becomes so important. And I'm going to let you in the comment section pick who I should have as my 4th member. I'll be honest, I think Aaron Team is going to smoke me up. You got to do all the first picks. We might have to do this. We might have to go pick for pick and see who can create the best team. That might be a little game that we play on another date. I think you've worked on a lot of really exciting projects. the one you're finishing very soon in Victoria Rise, that's a nice one, title splitting. Give us some information about that project.
That project was a delayed completion. So I purchased the basement flat with the ground and first floor. I sold the basement flat, split the title.
And just sorry, for those that are not familiar with delayed completion, you got to give them the explanation.
Okay, so delayed completion's when you agree a contract with the seller, but your completion date is pushed back to a set date. So I was able to somehow, with extensions, get a delayed completion for about 11 months on the ground and first floor because it was subject to planning. Because originally I was meant to split them into separate units, but it made more sense for me to just have it as a 3-bed flat with 2
I remember
baths.
that conversation when I came round and you were like, yeah, I'm going through planning. I looked at it, I was like, Aaron, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, because I want to. I said, why are you doing this?
Yeah, nah,
And I think NGDV ended up pretty similar.
It's like
it's a bit less, but you saved a lot of money. You haven't got duplicate kitchens, bathrooms, and all the extra work
and stuff like that. So it made more sense to just have it as a 3-bed. So that's what I've gone for now. And in terms of bringing it onto the market, I'm quite excited to bring that one onto the market because I feel like that will be my highest sort of property sold, and like just being able to create a product like that. I'm like, yeah, this is really cool.
What do you think you're going to go to market at?
I think I'll go to market at 1,050,000.
Okay, nice. You pushed the 7-figure sales.
Yeah, so
but that must feel nice as well, right?
Yeah, no, it does. Being able to sell at that price or create a product worth that value is really cool. Like, it's something that I'm really proud of.
Has there been a moment to date where you just kind of sort of sat back and was like, that's hard?
Yeah, like I probably had that moment with like finishing the HMO. Like I was like, I was a bit skeptical about the valuation. I thought I'd get a set price, and when the report came back and I was like, I got this value, I was like, wow, like that's crazy. I created that. That's it. So it was a good feeling, and I feel like those moments really show that, you know, everything you've done's been worthwhile.
Yeah, nah, that's amazing. Gonna keep pushing. What's next for you? I know obviously you spoke about building a portfolio, but just in terms of pipeline, what have you got you're going to be working on in the near future?
So currently in the pipeline, I've got the 2 projects that I'm currently bringing to the market. Then I've got 2 HMOs in the pipeline and another flip. So for every quarter, I'm trying to push a HMO and a flip. Work on doing them simultaneously, just in case, you know, with HMOs, if I get a down value, I always have a flip going on to bring the money that
bring
I've
the cash
left
flow back that you may have had to leave in a property.
Yeah, so that's mainly what I'm pushing on, and trying to make the timelines within projects much shorter within the next year as well. So turning things around really quickly with multiple different teams. So I'd say that's what's next for me.
No, I don't know if you lot can tell from doing this pod, but every time I speak to, there's a lot of people like you, not just you, but other people that I've really seen their journey. Like, I'm just so buzzing. I'm like, this is what it's all about. Like, when we talk about, like, whether it's the PBK community or just the PBK podcast, just a collective of people that really want to push and inspire each other to be the best version of ourselves. So I just want to, again, give you your flowers, say well done. I'm proud to have you on as a member of the community, but just even just as someone that I know that I've seen all the great things that you've achieved. So
thank you.
Keep smashing it, keep inspiring people, and just keep obviously being authentically you, because I don't think you even realize at this point the number of lives that you touch. And I think you'll know that, okay, I know this person watched me and this person came up to me, but I don't think you'll realize that you've helped people make millions. You've helped people believe when they didn't believe before. So just keep pushing with everything that you're doing, my brother.
Nah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate
man.
it.
Listen, if people want to reach out to you, there might be people that want to invest. There might be people that want to learn from you. How can people find you? How can they connect with you?
So Aaron D98 across all my platforms. And Aaron Danquah could do on YouTube. So feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help. Happy to have the conversations. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
Big up you, man. It's been amazing. That has been another episode of the PBK podcast. Each and every week, we bring a fantastic guest. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. If you've got any questions, let us know in the comment section how we can make this better. We're just trying to deliver the best content to you so you enjoy it and we can all learn and grow collectively together. So I'll catch you again next week for another episode. Peace.